Okay, here we're going out. We're going to get on now to the junior year. I was in going through the off season and everything, and then we got some summer working out to do, and then all that good stuff. But we were all during the summer. It's wild. It's going every which way, and we're doing everything we can. We're having a big party. But we're working out. We're doing all the things necessary. We're coming off of a great year. I think we went 12-1, and all of the good stuff that follows with something like that, little championship and everything. And uh, now we're moving into like I said, the junior year. Well, this is a year that it just kind of boost up. I'm rated pretty high on the list of positions I'm playing, and it looks everything's looking up, and I hadn't been in any real bad trouble or anything like that. Not ever now and then a run in with the coaches, and not doing what I needed to do or show up late or something like that. But anyway, getting started in our junior year, two-a-days and all that, boy, we were fired up and coming off, like I said, coming off that fantastic year, and it looked good and all that. And well, I think we're even rated one or two or something like that again. And uh, but we run out there and we're playing our first game, and I think we lost the first game. I'm not sure, but I have to look it up. I don't really go back and look at all that stuff I did and what went down. I'm mainly talking about the disease of alcoholism in regards, but it was what I was doing while I was drinking, so I talk about it. Okay, that's the way it's. You have to put your everyday life out there on the line, and the only way I could survive was get me a drink or get me a drug to keep me going, and that was a routine. But anyway, the junior season was selling right along. Everything was really going good, and we came up on a team about. It was one of our conference games, and anyway, one of those things happened. I've never been really, 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 really bad hurt in regards of injuries where I probably couldn't play. So, but anyway, I had I'd gotten a bad injury on my knee. I got through the line, and a dadgum halfback clipped me right there on my knee and tore. Matter of fact, just tore the whole knee up. And I got off the field, got everything, and yeah, it took me a little while to get going back the way I needed to do. So after that game was over with, uh, I didn't know if I was going to go get surgery. I didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to take place. But the coaches approached me and asked me if I wanted to play. And we had about about 6 ball games left. Plus, if we got in our playoff, we'd be doing something. So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to play. I don't know if I can, but I'll do what I can. Do what I can to get out there and give everything I got." It seemed like a lot of insanity when I look back on it now, but I played about like on one leg. But I had they would tape me up and get me ready for the next game, and I had to have something, to get me going, to get me out there. It wasn't just a boost to get me uh, playing on a high on a high note. It was something that I could take away some pain so I could play. So that's where all this was started. And anyway, they taped me up, and by halftime they'd had to cut the tape off, go back again. I didn't have a real bad season. I had a pretty good season, even though I had to play, or I played. Uh, with a bad knee. So we played a lot of football, and it just got to where I had to have more and more to keep my uh, just completely get going insane out there on the field because of the pain that I was going through. But it was one of those deals. I really wanted to play. I didn't want to sit out. I knew that it wasn't going to get hurt anymore. It was already done. Tore absolutely up when it happened, and so we rocked along that season. Did real well. We did real well, and got into the playoffs again, and but we didn't. We had a lot of injuries to a lot of people that year. I think it was 6 or 7 people went under the knife after the season. So, we played one or two playoff games, and then we got beat out. So the year just kind of went by, but we never quit all we're doing outside of playing football. It was always on about partying, and you just got, you got to cram it all in, man. You got to get even more drugs. You got to get even, more of the higher potency drugs to keep all of my pain down. And, it just goes on, and it just got worse. And that junior year was a really physically and mentally hard time to go through, but you just do it. You just do it. You just go through the deal. And then we got out there, and after the season, went in, got all cut up, got fixed up, my knee all fixed up and everything. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to even play my senior year. That's a deal in it, but anyway, I got after it, started working hard on it, started rebuilding it and all that. It was a lot different back in that day when I played, because you didn't go scope it and get it out of there. You had to get it cut up, and then you had to wear a cast for 6 weeks or more, and then you had to rehabilitate your knee and leg and all your muscles, and it just was it was a daily workout just to get it back to where I could do the things that was possible for me to get better for the next year to come. And and then you got a lot of mental things that going through your head. Is it going to be strong enough to play, or and that kind of stuff? So but I tell you what, it was a very disappointing year for me in regards of me being hurt, because I believe I would even had a better year my sophomore year, obviously, and had a lot of good things start happening to me and be ready to go into my senior year. So it was a setback. Can you overcome this? That's the biggest deal of an athlete. Can you overcome injury? So there I am, man. And I tell you what, we did some partying, and I let this end with one big party we had. This is crazy, but I'm gonna tell you about it anyway. We were out in the woods and had a trailer sitting out in the woods, and we had about, it was full, and then people overflowing, going out, in the yard. It was just a lot of people there. And so I don't know what or why, but all of a sudden, I didn't know if we ran low with alcohol, or we got hungry, or we just wanted to go carouse around, and looking for anything we could find. Anyway, we left. Me and this other guy got in my car, and I'm driving back into town there, and I didn't know this guy. I met him, but I didn't know him. Had never seen him before. Before tonight. So anyway, we're getting back into town and all that, man. And I'm running. I guess I was running a little too fast and all that. But when I drove, I always look in one eye in the rear view mirror. It was at night, so you had to see if anybody's going to be coming after you. So, but man, I was about 3 miles from town, and I passed this dude, and I thought I glimpsed a highway patrol car. So, man, I looked in the back, and all of a sudden, this was a two road. I mean, it was just a regular highway. I mean, it wasn't wide or nothing, but he had done turned a U-turn, and he was coming after me. Well, I floorboarded my rig, man, and I had that thing rolling because I really didn't want to get pulled over. I was pretty drunk. I was really drunk, and this other dude, he's done passed out over in the, and his old head on the window over there, on the door. He was gone. I didn't realize he was so drunk. But anyway, so I get back up into the city limits of this town, and all of a sudden, man, I'm trying to do kind of whatever I can to get out of the way of this cop so he don't see me take a right, take a left, do whatever it is. But I get into this suburb, and I think I went off to the right, man, and I'm down in this big area. I ain't never been in this place before, and I'm cutting down through here, going left, right. I'm just trying to get away from this dude. So I look back in the back mirror. I always were looking anyway, but when I looked, I went over a hill and I looked and I said, man, I think I lost him. I don't see his lights. I don't hear nothing. So, man, I went into there, took another left, and I went kind of and parked, threw my lights off, and just kind of was easing along just to see if I'd lost this guy, the highway patrol. It was the highway patrol. And man, what happened is he topped that hill. Well, I was down far enough that I stopped. I mean, my mind went just crazy. I mean, what am I going to do? So anyway, I just stopped the car and ran around on the other side. Well, what I did is I opened up the door and he was passed out. This other dude was passed out. I drug him all the way over there and put him under the wheel real quick. And then I ran around to the other side and got in the car. And by that time, I just had enough. A cop, we were in a blind spot or something. I got in the car and I had no more than shut the door. And this cop was pulling up and everything. And anyway, he stopped right kind of where he could see, and he had his window down, and that old boy, his head was on the other side. Now he's in the driver's seat, and his head was up against the window. And he gets out and walks around to me because he saw him. He's passed out. He's passed out. So he walks around to me and says, "Hey, man, was this guy driving?" I looked at him. I said, "He got this far, and it looked like he just quit. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't have a clue." And, he said, "You been drinking?" Yeah. I said, "Well, we had a party outside of town, and, a bunch of us ball players, we got together. We was drinking a little bit. That's about all." So anyway, this guy, he went over there, and finally he got him out of the car. He couldn't even hardly walk. I mean, he had to help him, got him into his car. And then he looks at me and he says, "Do you think you can drive? I'm going to go to the police station." I said, "Well, sure, I can drive." So anyway, I'm following this guy. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? I'm going ahead and following this guy instead of just, take the left and go on, get out of the way. So I follow this guy all the way to the police station. Oh my gosh. And then we pull up in there. And anyway, I'm looking off in Wonderland. I can't really, I don't know what the hell, I'm drunk too. So anyway, but I didn't realize that the cop had parked in front of me, about 10 yards in front of me. Well, man, I was coasting along in there, and man, I ran right up his butt. I couldn't believe it. I hit the dude. All right, a cop car. So I puts it right. He comes back there. He said, "I thought you could drive." I said, "Well, I didn't know you was gonna stop right in front of me." He said, "Just pull over there." I didn't really bump it that hard or nothing. So we went up there anyway, and anyway, they booked him and got him in there, and thought, hell, he couldn't. He's kind of groggy and coming to now, but hell, they already had him fingerprinted and had him back in the jail cell and everything like that. And so it rung along there, and I said, "Man, I'm playing this deal cool. I'm gonna wait and see what happens, and then go," because I didn't even know this dude. I was pulling the wool over him. I thought, But old buddy of mine come up, and he was good friend of mine. He played ball with me. He said, "Man, that's buddy. That guy's he's a friend of mine. He went to the same school I did, high school." I said, "Well, I told him what I did and everything." He said, "Man, you can't do that." I said, "Well, I tell you what. Right now, let's let it ride, and I'll come up here tomorrow and I'll take care of whatever I need to do to get it, fixed. Yeah, we'll work it out." So that's how insane this whole night was. But that's just one of the deals. I mean, it was like, wow, this thing it goes on and on like this, and it ended up where I came back up there the next day and took care of business, but it was a day over, and they couldn't they couldn't test me, or they couldn't say anything to me, because all they could do is give me a little reckless thing or whatever it was when I bumped that cop. So it all worked out to the best of both of us, because they let him go and they gave him a PI or something for being so drunk in public. So it all kind of rolled downhill. Hell, we can just do things that are, get out of so many kind of scrapes that is unbelievable. But I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Think about it a little bit, because those kind of things are just terribly wrong, and that's the way it was. But I'll be back with y'all. I'll see y'all again. Talk to y'all again in a day. All right, take it easy now. Y'all be careful out there, and if y'all are doing what I'm doing, you better watch out, man, especially around this Christmas season. Boom. See y'all.